Hi guys, I wanted to make another video today because I've been kind of slacking on my videos. I've been working and working and working and I haven't really had a day off. I work Monday through Monday. So I work Monday through Friday at the schools and then I work Saturdays and Sundays at a gas station. For the people who are from the Midwest, I work for Casey's. So I'm sure you're familiar with the Casey's. Um, so I've just been really busy, but I wanted to make this video because it's been a lot of things on my mind recently. I've been reading the paper and listening to a radio station that I always listen to, NPR News. And well, first I want to talk about this interview that I heard on NPR News, which shout out to NPR News for putting out their interviews that they do 10 years ago and even now. They did a few interviews with people that I thought was like, whoa. They interviewed Queen and they talked about their songs, which I know Queen's been in the news here lately, not just because of what they look like, but because of their music and what they were trying to accomplish way in the 70s and in the 80s that we're listening to now today in the 2022s. So shout out to Queen. Um, the other interview that they did was a Jay-Z interview. And I wanted to talk about this interview because it was really crazy that the whole time I listened to Jay-Z, I never really paid attention to uh the songs that he made. And this particular interview was done way maybe about 10, 15 years ago, and they were talking about his music. They're talking about his song 99 Problems But Ain't One. So I found that interesting because I always thought, I know what this song is about. I know what the song is about. But they broke it down, and it was crazy that he said this song was literally about a police officer trying to pull him over for no reason. So when he talks about a bitch, he's not saying a woman, he's saying a dog. He's referring to a real dog. So I was like, wow, interesting. Because, I sing this song, I've heard it, I played it over and over and over. And yes, I thought I understood it, but I never once did I really, really think that he experienced something like this, where he got pulled over for racial profiling and he just wasn't even worried about it because he really meant what he was saying in the song. But it makes complete sense. And so shout out to Fresh Air is who actually did the interview and aired it on the radio. Shout out to them for doing that. I really find that pretty awesome and amazing that you still inform us and teach us knowledge of music like that, because we're not really talking about it as much anymore. There was a time in our history that we did talk about it and we were allowed to. And I mean, rap was like huge. But here lately, it's just been misunderstood. And I believe that the lyrics of the new upcoming artists are not as deep as what they used to be. So it's really not in the news as much. So shout out to Fresh Air. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was something that's been going on. Um, I think in not just this state but several states. This HB 1775, which basically bans the teaching of certain things in the classroom. Now, this thing has been huge because we've had a lot of people and a lot of teachers, a lot of schools, a lot of classrooms get rid of literature because it's inappropriate in the classroom. Now, I want to say I picked up the newspaper and I saw, like, just briefly, I didn't take the time to actually read it, but just briefly, I just saw, like, some stuff that was saying, some things about the teacher and the teacher actually resigning and the school district, being upset over this and several parents being upset over the QR code. So I wanted to read more about it. I went ahead and picked up the newspaper and brought it home so I could really understand what was going on. So I read several articles about it. And one article talked about how this material that was on this QR code was inappropriate because it had like sexuality and like it talked about like their body parts and stuff like that. So that was inappropriate for a child. And they were calling it like giving pornography to a child. And like, and I'm gonna pause on that thought because I really want to say, how many of us went to school and had sex ed in school? I mean, I know I did. I was in the 5th grade and I'm 40. So for me to be 40 and 30 something years ago, or 30 years ago, I was able to learn about sex ed, my period, and boys and their smell, and just deodorant, that kind of stuff, body odor. It wasn't a big deal and it wasn't considered pornography, and honestly I appreciated it because I did not have a mother to teach me these things. My father was around, he raised me, but everybody that knows me knows I did not have my mom growing up. So that whole conversation with a woman, from woman to woman, telling me that I was going to get a period, I didn't get that. I got it from the school, and I was really appreciative of that because it wasn't like I was singled out. They did it as a whole class thing, and it was, I believe it was called um physiology, like physical education, because they're teaching us about our body and stuff. So I don't know if that would be considered pornography and handing a child pornography. So that was my thought on that. But then I turned around and I read another article, and the other article was talking about how these books were actually more geared towards gender identity, queer gender, stuff like that. And I was a little bit uncomfortable because me myself, I'm old fashioned. I was raised in a Catholic home. I still hold my beliefs. I still baptize my children. I had them go to church. I don't force them to believe anything, but I have certain things that I do teach my kids. And working with children, and I know I don't talk about myself much, but I have 20 plus years of experience of working with children. I went to school for this. I took child development. I took psychology classes. I mean, and it keeps going. It's not like I took them and I stopped. I have to do this every year to be registered to the state of Oklahoma. So I've actually been around kids. I know the knowledge. I have to refresh myself every year with this information. And doing this, I realized that um, everything that you teach a child, everything that you show a child, everything that you do in front of a child, they will pick it up. Children are like sponges, right? So, in a way, I was like, wow, okay, well, maybe they're trying to protect our kids from things that not everyone is trying to teach them. Because I know for me, I don't have anything against the LGBTQ community, but I am teaching my daughter that she's a girl and she needs to be a girl until she's old enough to figure out for herself that she's just not comfortable in her skin. But to me, that's not going to happen until she's like 18, 19, 20 years old, maybe even 30. Because, I mean, just because she's learning and she's growing and she is an individual, she's herself, doesn't mean that she knows exactly what she wants to be or who she wants to be. So in a way, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. I understand why we're like not wanting them to read these books. But it just brings me back to, they should be allowed to choose what books they want to read. And for the most part, when I talk to people, people talk about the books that we read as children being banned. So I'm confused because the newspapers don't name the books, and I haven't actually brought up the QR code to actually look at what books are in there. But other parents have spoken to me about it, and other parents say, To Kill a Mockingbird is banned. Romeo and Juliet is banned. Holes is banned. And I'm like, those books teach our kids how to critically think. They don't teach them to do anything else. It doesn't teach them to change their gender. It doesn't teach them to be gay or lesbian or nothing like that. It doesn't talk about sexuality. It talks about real things and real events that actually happen in the world. And actually, they open up your mind to really critically think. And that's a very important thing. And talking to my coworkers and even other parents, I've talked to them about all these things, and I think we all agree. When you take away that ability, when you don't teach these children those skills to critically think for themselves, then you have a group of humans who will eventually stop questioning things and stop asking, why is that this, or why are we doing that, or even how or when, or, like when you take away that critical thinking skill, you almost are able to program the human and the brain. So why are we doing that? Like, why are we allowing the government to do that? I understand completely if you don't want your child to know, that Jane turned into John and at such a young age, at 10 or whatever. I totally understand something like that. And for the people that are pro, transgender communities and stuff like that, I can understand how you would want to put this information out for the world, but everything has to be age appropriate. And also, I believe that I talked about this in one of my previous videos. We need filters. We're operating without filters sometimes, and I think this really affects our children because, again, they're like sponges. They will absorb every single thing that we put out there. So, I mean, I'm bringing this up now because, again, I like to talk about things that are out in the news and out in the world and, make you think. I want this to be food for thought. So, I mean, any comments, anything that you want to add to this, anything you want me to learn, put it on the comments for me. I would really appreciate it because right now I'm a little confused. Like, what are we doing? What are we banning? We already took the statues away because it was insulting and appalling and blah, blah, blah. And we shouldn't have these people up. But that took part of our history away. And now another thing I noticed is we still are putting statues up of people that are doing what? Like, I know OSU, I believe, just put up a statue of someone that's important on their campus, but our history is now erased because we took down so many other statues that were important into our history. And now with this HB 1775, we're not able to talk about certain things if the children are uncomfortable with it. And honestly, I mean, I just don't understand how you're going to teach history without teaching what really happened in history. At some point, we have to talk about the uncomfortness because it's the world. The world functions like that. We can't take away all the all the uncomfortable moments from everyone and everything. That's just not how it works. So, anyways, I don't want to get on here and talk about all the blah blah blahs and make it boring for you. But I want to know, like, guys, I look forward to the comments and all of the information that you can share with me. Please bring it up to my attention. If there's something that you want to talk about, bring it up to my attention. I've been really wanting to do a super, like maybe a longer than 18 minutes, longer than 15 minutes segment, but I don't want to bore you to death. And I feel like we have so much to talk about in today's world that people are not talking about because they're afraid. Like this whole book thing, like, I mean, we've got a whole teacher that resigned, because she could not teach what I guess she felt was appropriate. And this was high school. This was not elementary. This was not middle school. This was high school, guys. In high school, these kids should be able to pick up a book and read it, especially in today's world. If we are pro gay marriage and pro lesbian marriage and same sex marriage and all these other things that we're like incorporating into our world, that we should be able to incorporate some of these books. But at the same time, why are we banning the books that we were made to read when we were young? Again, like To Kill a Mockingbird. Why I don't even understand. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not one of my favorite books, but Holes was a great book. Why are we banning that? I may be wrong on, what books are banned or whatnot. I have to do more research on that. But if you have some information that you want to share, please share it with us. And, just to make this a little bit short, not too long, the last thing that I really want to put out there and have you think about, school shootings. So I've been talking about this for a while too. We've had repeated things happen at Norman High School, right? And I mean, they tagged the bathroom, they did this, they did that. Some people got upset over it. Some people even left their jobs because of it. Some people don't send their kids to school because of that. But here recently, we had an individual post a picture on a app. I believe it was Snapchat or something like that, and he said, "Don't go to school tomorrow." And like all these people got upset over it and kept their kids home and stuff like that. And it's crazy. I would have done the same thing. I would have been worried, sick. What's going on? We ended up getting a letter from the district, and long story short, they explained that they found the individual, they took care of the situation. There's nothing for us to worry about, this, that, and the other. But really, how do we take care of this? Because this is a situation that's been ongoing, not just with one school, not just here in Norman, but everywhere, all over the United States. Ever since Columbine, it just seems like it just won't go away. And I don't know if it's because we have more access to the media and we have more access to the news, or if it's just because this is really what's happening to our youth. And yeah, and I say youth because it's the kids, it's the younger crowd, the younger generations that are growing up, and I understand the people from Columbine, like the ones that shot up Columbine, they were young. They're not alive anymore and they're not around. So I'm not saying it's just them, but what is happening and how can we fix this? How can we help, our youth today so that we won't have this going on, so they won't think this is entertaining and funny, because it's really not. I mean, being brought up in Compton, raised in Compton, and growing up there in the 90s and seeing the gangs and the violence and the guns and the drive-bys, it's not fun having to worry about someone coming into your school and shooting it. It's just, none of it is attractive. So how do we fix it, guys? What do we do? What can we do to protect ourselves? And I mean, I've seen a lady on TikTok teach her, 5-year-old how to carry a bulletproof thing in his backpack, and it was a big deal. And I mean, kudos to you, mom. Kudos to you, because I never thought about doing that. But maybe that is something we should be doing, is giving them bulletproof vests so they can go to school in, or I'm not sure. But how do we fix it, guys? Food for thought. I'm really trying to get people to think about what we're going through, what we're living, what we're doing in today's world, because today's world's changed so much. It's changed 100% since when I was a kid. I mean, when I was a kid, we didn't have phones. When I was a kid, we had fun outside. We could play. Now we got to worry about COVID. We got to worry about monkeypox. We got to worry about people shooting at the schools just because they're angry. People shooting at random places like grocery stores because they're angry or because they don't like the group of people that are shopping there. We've got to worry about not even knowing where we are now, because if you can't talk about certain things in school and you can't read certain things in school, how do you know who you're going to school with? Like, how do you even know what your community is like? You're banning everything. And so where does that leave us? Are we allowed to talk about certain things? It's bad enough already that if we say something the wrong way, someone might get mad and take it the wrong way and react to it. But now we're not even allowed to talk about it. And I'm used to like being in the classroom, being with the kids. What if I say something wrong? Or I work at a school every day, Monday through Friday, I work at a school. What if I say something and it's gotten taken out of context? Am I going to lose my job? I mean, it's just crazy and ridiculous. But my opinion over this is that we should be free. We should be able to like state what we think, talk about it without fear. And if I want my kids to read certain things, they should be able to read them. I thought, the school's requirements of books was great. I really did. I wanted my oldest daughter to read them, which I bought all these books that, some of these parents are talking about are banned. I bought them for my oldest, and now I can't give them to my youngest because they're banned. And it's I don't know. Some of these things I feel like are getting out of control, guys. But anyways, I welcome your comments. I welcome your opinions. I welcome your facts. Please, if you have something to share, something to teach me, teach me. Teach me, because right now I'm confused. And again, guys, NPR News, shout out to you. Keep doing your interviews, keep playing them. I also enjoyed the interview with Johnny Cash's daughter. She learned 100 songs, and just a quick quick little thing about Johnny Cash's daughter. They were talking about American music, which is, I guess, country music. She learned 100 American songs that her father told her to learn. And kudos to you, because that is amazing. I feel like that's one of the greatest accomplishments as an artist you can do is, learn these songs that are in history that help build America or that help build our style and our music pretty much, because music changes every 10 years, every 15 years, sometimes every 5 years, but it originated somewhere, and it originated with one sound, and then it just progressed and developed and became something else, and it kept changing and changing and changing. So shout out to you, NPR News and KGOU or whatever that uh station is called, Fresh Air. Shout out to you. All Things Considered, shout out to you. I appreciate all the information and the knowledge you guys put out. Um, yeah, so maybe on my next video we could talk about abortion and the laws and everything that's going on. But I'll have more news for you because I will read these newspapers and get caught up. And also, maybe we could talk about the turnpike. That's been a big deal in Oklahoma, and how it's going to affect the water, and how much money it's going to, require to actually build. And it's probably going to take about 15 years to do. So anyway, that'll be next time. Thanks, guys, for watching, and thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate you. I'm having so much fun making these videos, and I'm going to upload some for you so that you can see them, because I am so excited. I've finally reached one of my SMART goals, and that was to get the 50 subscribers. So again, thanks, guys. Like my videos, watch. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a good day. Bye.